called Joy Hall, and I've showed it to you before. It's Santa. It's a Santa snow globe ornament. I like this. Pam, stitching between the lines, says that she likes these in the perforated paper because she doesn't have to use her magnifier. I still wear, I have bifocals in these glasses when I'm at home, and sometimes even in public, which annoys my husband. I wear readers with these because the magnifiers in these aren't strong enough. So I wear readers with these. I wear two pair of glasses, and then I have a special lamp. But I can do this without the special readers. So anyway, I worked on Joy Hall, and this is where I am, and it's a really cute, simple stitch, and yeah, I'm so close. I just have to do some background really and finish up the base of the, but I don't know. It's one of the things. And then the next thing that I worked on is from the Cricut collection. It's called Free Range. It says Fresh Eggs. I love the Cricut collection patterns, and I would like to do this too. It's kind of I don't know, that kind of reminds me of like a carrot. I'm not really sure what that's supposed to be. I think that's supposed to be a carrot. I don't know, but it's cute with a little bee on it. But I love these chicken. I'm going to have to edit so much of my coughing out. I love the chickens. And I'm using all of the called for colors. And, and this is the fabric that I had dyed using Farm Girl, Michelle Rudy's dyeing instructions, which are awesome. But I had used cheap fabric that I found at Hobby Lobby, and it was cheap linen. And it was really, really cheap linen. And I dyed it, and I think it was 32 count, and then I think once I dyed it, I made it like 35 count, or, it was quite a bit smaller. And because it was cheap, it had a lot of, I don't know if you call them slubs, or, areas that were thicker where the threads were thicker. I stitched a little bit of it, and I didn't like it. I loved the color of it, but I didn't like it. And I had bought the fabric that this called for, or something really similar, from 1-2-3 Stitch. So I scrapped that other piece, and let's see, and I got first little Miss Chicken, who's sitting on her egg, and then part of the letter G, right? Yeah, part of the letter G done. And this is a really sweet stitch. I love this pattern, and you can see dog hair on it too. Of course you can. There's dog hair literally on everything in our house. But that's a sweet pattern, lots of fun. I sat down, I was going to do it, I was only going to work on that, and of course, no, I do that for a day, and then I want to work on this. And I've had kind of a weird, I was just watching Pam, Stitching Between the Lines, her video, and she talked about people who kind of go on and on about nothing, and I hope I'm not doing that, but I think this is stitching related. I've had this weird thing where I've been in the mood to stitch, but I'm in the mood, I want to stitch so many things. There's so many things I want to stitch and so many things I want to work on that I have hopped around, and I've done quite a bit of stitching, and I have gotten a little bit accomplished on a lot of different things, and I guess that's okay as long as I'm stitching and I'm doing stuff. I have my grocery shopping list there for some reason. Let's see, we can skip that because we talked about, that's just the June wordplay, which I didn't do anything on. Talked about Frida Kahlo. I did work on Frida. Now this is also being done on that cheaper, well, I don't know if this is the same piece of cheesy cheap fabric that I got from Hobby Lobby or not. But I did dye it, and it's working fine with Frida, and I really like how it looks. I dyed it a little different color. This was supposed to be more orange than yellow, but turned out, I ended up having a mistake. I had Frida almost completely finished, the top of her almost completely finished except for her hair, and I was off count, and her head was not even on her body. Her head was off center. And so I had to frog the whole head and part of the monkey and part of her collar. And anyway, I redid it, and it turned out a lot better. I don't know what I was doing that late one night and just was way crooked. I love this piece. I think it's so Frida-esque. I don't know. I just really like it. And this I'm making for my sister, and I think she'll enjoy it. That's my phone chiming. I forgot to turn it down before I started. Sorry about that. In case you haven't seen, this is the Frida pattern. And see, I think that would look really pretty in that frame, but then I would probably only get like that part in it, which would probably be okay. Although I don't know. And I didn't know this. I think I had known this at one time, but had forgotten that Frida actually did have a monkey, a pet monkey. And that's why she's holding a monkey. But McKenna did this pattern and did a lovely job on it and reminded me that that's true, that she actually had a monkey. Sorry about the dogs barking. Okay, then I did some work on early Americans. I think I did some work since I'm sure I did some work since I last. I couldn't find the called for fabric was out at 123 Stitch when I was ordering, but I found this very similar, only much more red. I don't want to say red. I don't know what color this is. It's more of a, I don't know, it's red. Anyway, so I did managed to finish Betsy Ross. Let's see if I can. This piece is a little unwieldy because it's quite large. Let's see, maybe if I do it like this. I did manage to finish Betsy and get a little bit of a start on, I think this is Nathan Hale next to her. And I using all the called for threads. The only thing that I'm kind of doing differently is this is Vanna's border that she charted and offered for free on her blog. And I think she used different red, white, and blue than the pattern called for, but I'm going to go ahead and just use the red, white, and blue from the pattern. I think it's Classic Color Works. So anyway, that's coming along. I'm behind. I think the fourth one came out, and I'm slightly behind on that, but oh well, it is what it is. Okay, I'm not going to bother to put that in there for right now. Okay, and then do you remember the Heaven and Earth design train that I'm making for my father-in-law? I didn't bring that, which I should have, because I had I've actually done probably maybe a quarter of a page of the first page. Not a lot, but for me, for Heaven and Earth design, quite a bit. But the whole top part of it, all the way across, is blue, light blue, it's sky. And, oh, that blue gets really tedious and monotonous working with it. And I was working with it, and I had worked several hours one day, and I had been and it was, I had worked on it for like 2 or 3 consecutive days, and I finally couldn't stand it. And I told my husband it was going in timeout. And so it went in timeout, and I went ahead and kitted up this next one, which is for me. And this is called The Dreaming Tree. By Amy Stewart, and it looks like that, and I think this is just precious. Kind of out of my wheelhouse of things that I do, but I loved this. I saw this and had to buy it, and I think it's really pretty. And I thought, well, there's not a whole lot other than over here with the blue water. There's not a whole lot of one color anywhere, so I thought this might keep my attention for just a little bit longer. So this is my little itty bitty start on the Dreaming Tree. Oh, and I kind of mentioned that I have 2 LNSs here. One is Reflections, Stitching and Framing, which is the greatest LNS in the history of LNSs. But we have another one, and it's a lovely store. Just kind of not a place. It's just not for me. It's just not my kind of place. It's still a great store. But this is where I found both of these patterns, not at Reflections, at the other store. It's much closer to me. I had stopped in one day for something, and she had a whole bunch of Heaven and Earth designs that she hadn't had before, and so I bought these two, and and I bought the fabric to go along with them. And so I actually started the Dreaming Tree, and I had about, oh gosh, I must have had several hundred stitches in it. And I realized, I started thinking, this fabric seems, this is a long, kind of a long, narrow pattern. And I realized that I was stitching it on a square piece of fabric. And so I went upstairs and measured, and it was too small. It was not the right size for this. So I had to go buy new fabric. And I think I ordered this online, and I had to wait for it to come. So I just had to have a little tiny start. Not even 100 stitches in that top little section, but lots of confetti and lots of different colors, and I love it, and it's such fun to do, and I wish I had worked on it more than I have. But okay, then I was at Barnes & Noble with my daughter, and we've been spending a lot of time at the library because Maddie, we're big readers. Every member of our immediate family, we all love to read. And Ivana had kind of mentioned this about her daughter, her youngest, I think, that reads a lot. Maddie does not read a whole lot during the school year. She's too busy with sports and school. But in the summer, that child can read a book a day. Easy. So every time we go to Barnes & Noble, she wants all these books, and I don't want to spend, books now are $12.99 or $9.99 or $15.99, and the latest book that she wanted was a new release, and it was a hardback, and it was $25 or something like that at Barnes & Noble, and so I refused to buy it for her. She was so mad at me, and then we went to the library, and of course the library didn't have it, but at least at the library she can check out 10 books and it's free, and if she doesn't like them or she reads them in a day, oh, everything's falling, it's no big deal. So we were at Barnes & Noble to look for a book for her, and that I didn't end up letting her buy, but I ended up buying some cross-stitch magazines, and this pattern, and it was one of those whim purchases, like, I saw the magazine and thought, oh, that's really pretty, and anyway, this is Cross Stitcher. This is the June issue of Cross Stitcher magazine. I don't know much about cross-stitch magazines, but anyway, so I don't know if this is typically a good magazine. And there are several cute patterns in here. I'm not going to do a flip through, but the one that caught my eye, and again, this is out of my wheel.